Would you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? We have entered the month of August. It is football month. It is fall camp. And we got a lot to talk about, especially around Columbia, South Carolina, here on South Carolina Live at the Voice of College Football. I'm your host, as always, Lucas Hill. Joining me back in our South Carolina Live studios, none other than the former college football quarterback himself, JB Altman, now student at South Carolina. JB, good to see you, my friend. Welcome back to the show.
Good to see you, man. Excited to be here.
Let's get after it, my man. Let's get after it indeed. Hey, everybody do us a favor before we continue. If you're in the live chat, hit the like and share. Make sure you share to all those friend groups. If you're watching us on X, make sure you hit that little heart button, hit the repost button. Share it to all your friends. Tell them that we are live here on South Carolina Live. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Turn on that bell notification so that you are notified every time we post a new video, live show, or a short here on South Carolina Live at the Voice of College Football. Always, always, always a pleasure whenever you guys are joining us. Also, we have memberships starting as low as $2.99, guys. If you want to support South Carolina, if you are a diehard Gamecock fan, consider being a member, going over to our YouTube page, get yourself either a $2.99, $4.99, or a $9.99 membership, and become a member of South Carolina Live today. Get you a lot of different perks, a lot of different access that you won't get as just a regular viewer. We got a lot of things coming in for you, very special. Before we continue any further, I did say, I don't know if anybody even saw this on what I posted on Twitter last night, but joining us on Friday is none other than the godfather of college football previews himself, Phil Steele, will be joining us to talk a lot around the SEC, a lot around South Carolina, what he expects going into the 2025 season for around the SEC. We're going to take a lot of time to discuss around that. We are really, really excited for what's to come soon. But JB, let's get right on into this, brother. Fall camp has officially come, and we know the fall camp life. You and I both know about it. We've been through it. It's not the best if you're a player, but it's football, and it's always a lot of fun. Let me ask you this. Favorite fall camp memory that you can remember off the top of your head?
Oh, Lord, put me on the spot. I mean, I would just have to say not one specific memory, but fall camp, you really get a chance to, especially if you're an incoming freshman. South Carolina has a lot of highly rated incoming freshmen. So the one thing about fall camp is you're really going to become closer with your brothers, and you're going to become closer with your teammates because you don't have a choice. I mean, you're eat, sleep, breathing football. There's no class yet. So you're going to be constantly football, as you know, you're going to have to get along with everybody to the best of your ability. There's going to be some people you like, some people you don't. But fall camp is that time where you really create those friendships. And there's a lot of chemistry that can be made in fall camp because, in my opinion, I think that the more time you spend with your teammates outside of football, the better that can help you all on the field as well. So just overall, I think building those relationships in fall camp as a team is probably some of my favorite memories.
Yeah, I always never forget the conditioning at the end of practice. Most of the time, you're getting after a 24-25 period practice where you're just ready to go home at that point, and you hear your strength coach say on the line, and you're running like there is no tomorrow. You know, one of those things, it's when you get to that point where you're no longer playing the game of football, you miss those memories. You miss the whistle. You miss the smell of sweat. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But it's memories that you don't forget. It's memories that last with you for a lifetime, and I think that's something that we take for granted as retired football players. But a lot came out of South Carolina in the last week. I want to discuss this with you, JB. Geoff Collins, the former Georgia Tech and Temple head coach, just has been hired last week as the new defensive senior analyst for South Carolina. Thoughts on this hire?
I mean, it's a very Beamer hire. It kind of fits his motto. Beamer has this tendency of taking coaches that are not necessarily like the most hot shot name commodities, and he'll bring former head coaches in. I think he has like 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6 old head coaches, past head coaches already on the staff. So, I mean, I think the hire is good. It just kind of, I mean, it really just fits who Beamer is. Beamer has never been a flashy hire guy. He's never been like that. I mean, for example, Dowell Loggins left and went to App State. You could have gone throwing a bunch of money to offensive coordinator come in, and he wouldn't hired Mike Shula, who was already on staff. That's just who Beamer is. He's never going to really blow you away with the hires. But at the end of the day, you've got somebody that has a lot of experience. You've got somebody that has formerly coached in the SEC and been a head coach at Georgia Tech. So, I mean, I think it's going to bring a lot of experience to the team, and they're going to need it because this is a team that has a lot of expectations coming into the year, and they cannot go 5-7. I mean, after going 9-3 last year.
No. I think this is going to speak a lot of volumes around the SEC. Because I'm glad you mentioned the Mike Shula hire, or really the promotion from last year. And you look at where Geoff Collins is right now. He could be in a very similar situation. Clayton White has been receiving a lot of phone calls to be a P4 head coach. And very likely, don't be surprised if either the end of this year or maybe next year, he goes to take a head coaching job. Clayton White is one of the best defensive coordinators in the SEC. He's proven it time and time again, putting guys like what we saw last year, arguably, in my opinion, one of the best defenses that South Carolina has put on the field since the days of Jadeveon Clowney and Marshawn Lattimore, or who was it? No, it was
Stephon Gilmore.
Stephon Gilmore. That's who I'm thinking of. I keep wanting to say Marcus Lattimore for some reason, but
they were loaded. They had DJ Swearinger, Stephon Gilmore. They had I think it was Bryce Williams. Even
who was that edge guy that was opposite Jadeveon?
That was
number 6. God dog it.
Oh, you're talking about. Oh God, you're talking about.
I'm so stupid. I don't remember his name.
I'm blanking right now, but he had a fake punt versus Georgia. I remember vividly in my head, and he took it 60 yards.
I think he had a fumble return for a touchdown that same game too. Because I know exactly who you're talking about. I'm literally looking him up right now. I might know who this is. I'm such an idiot. No, it's not Devin Taylor, was it?
No.
He played for the Chargers. That I know. Melvin freaking Ingram. How the hell did I not know that?
Yeah, I name blank. I mean, I have him in my head, number 6.
Oh, my God, I'm such an idiot. How did I not know it was Melvin Ingram?
Yeah, he was a good player. Well, Carolina, they're going to need somebody that's going to be able to come on the other side of Dylan Stewart this year. They're going to need somebody to help him out and take some pressure off of Dylan Stewart, in my opinion.
I do want to talk about the defense when we get to a minute, but back to where Geoff Collins is. I do think that in the future, I do see Beamer potentially promoting him to be maybe not a DC, but a position coach as well, which I think he's going to help out a lot with, I think, the linebackers, and I think he might have a say in with the special teams as well because I think Collins was as well a special teams coordinator all the way back in the day. He's going to help with the linebackers from what I am hearing. He's a former linebackers coach. He hasn't coached linebackers he hasn't been a position type coach since 2009, whenever he was at UCF. But I do see him kind of becoming that like linebacker. He's going to help out with the linebackers because this group needs it. This is going to be a depleted linebacker room where you're not going to have a solid leader, where the glue of your program in Demetrius Knight is gone, where you have a lot of youth that's coming up, a lot of potential from guys from the portal. But apart from that, I don't know really what you're going to build around the youth that is around that roster. It scares me to just really think about that. But I do see a lot of leadership qualities in that linebacking core. He was the Florida State transfer that I thought could be Demetrius Knight kind of like. But I think overall, going back to the Collins hire, there's something that's going to be set up. Maybe not the end of this year, but maybe going into next year, he may get a promotion to a position coordinator, or he may end up being the next DC at South Carolina. If not, maybe somewhere else. He was there at North Carolina last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Beamer is. I mean, if you think about it, like you said, Mike Shula came on. It's just kind of his MO. So it makes a lot of sense. Like, even if you think about, I mean, I know it's not the same, but the Ohio State quarterback that came in to Carolina this year,
Aaron Nolan.
Aaron Nolan. That's right. I'm sorry, I was blanking on his name. He came, and it's like a year early. Like, they basically recruited him as like, just in case Lenoris leaves early, they kind of already have him waiting in the wings. So
from what I'm hearing around that camp, they say that Aaron Nolan, whenever he was at Ohio State, was showing flashes of what CJ Stroud had.
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't heard as much about him, but I'll tell you someone to watch out for is Cutter Woods, the freshman from Westside High School in Anderson. He is a stud. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be like the starter and when Lenoris is gone or anything. It's too early to tell. But he played well in the spring game. He's a competitor. I know family friends of his. I know where he grew up. I have friends that were in his school district and that type of thing. So that's the type of guy that really, really is going to do well. And I mean, those competitors, they don't go away. So I think Carolina it seems like Beamer, like you said, he's really got a process of thinking like a year in advance in the future, just in case a coach leaves, just in case Lenoris leaves. They're not hoping they leave, but they're kind of having backup plans as kind of what you mentioned.
I think that's important too when you talk about that backup plan. And I'm glad we're on this subject, because think about what's going to happen after 2025. Lenoris is likely gone. You have.
I hope not.
I mean, you would say that you hope not, but you also look at where his draft stock is and who he's being coached by, and you see what type of success that your current offensive coordinator has had with quarterbacks. Hey, Cam Newton. Hey, many NFL quarterbacks that he's worked with.
What are your thoughts on Mike Shula? Do you think that he's going to do well? Do you think that he's going to call a good game this year?
Absolutely.
You know,
I've watched plenty of Mike Shula offenses. I know he hasn't been in the college game since 2006, but the game has changed. It's becoming more NFL-like. And when you have a quarterback that fits the mold of the typical quarterback right now, where you have to scramble, where you're wanting a guy that's going to be an all-around athlete, that's what Lenoris is. That's exactly what you're going to expect out of him at the next level. And you're going to continue to see that at the next level. You're going to love what he has to offer at the next level. I really like what Mike Shula has done with different quarterbacks around the SEC. I love what he's done at the NFL level, helping develop guys at a high rate. And he's going to continue to do that with Lenoris Sellers. He helped a little bit last year with Dowell Loggins, because if you remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Dowell Loggins was taking a beating all of 23 and all of 20 and the first half of 24 with his play calling as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I had multiple people tell me that 50% of them were happy with him or were sad that he went to App State, and then 50% of them are like, thank you, but we're not super sad that you're leaving. So there's definitely some mixed reviews, but in this Mike Shula offense, I don't think a whole lot's going to change. In my opinion, I think it'll be pretty similar from what you saw last year. So I am high on Mike Shula. I am. I think he's going to do great, but I want to see it. I want to see it. I want him to prove it to me. The good thing is you have a quarterback that if you call a bad play, he can bail you out. I mean,
Yes.
he's like an eraser. So that's a really, really good tool to have if you're an offensive coordinator who hasn't called a game in college in 10 years or more. So I think it'll all work out. I think Lenoris has more experience and more confidence than he ever has had. If you go back to last season, the first 3 or 4 games of the year, I think he would admit he didn't really know what he was doing. And then once he kind of got that understanding of how life is in the SEC, he really clicked the last 6 games of the year.
We're excited to see what type of progression he has. And I think whenever you look at where the most important game of the season, when you talk about where the Gamecocks could be at the end of the day, it starts with that opening game against Virginia Tech. No question in my mind that that's where it starts with, because that's going to set the tone early with what this season is going to look like. And people are going to say, oh, it's just the first game of the season. Everybody's going to realize that Virginia Tech has a lot to play for at this point. Brent Pry's ass is on the line. You have arguably one of the best opportunities in the world to steal any chance that Brent Pry has to save his job. You can take that and rip it to shreds in that opening game. I think you're a 10-point favorite going into that one as well. But this is still a good Virginia Tech program. Kyron Drones was one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC that went under the radar last year. You talk about an offensive line that should be better. You talk about a defense that, yes, they lost a lot. They're still going to come out and punch you in the mouth, especially in that front four. Going up against a South Carolina offensive line that, I'll be honest with you, you bulked up a little bit, there's still a cause for concern. So we'll get to that when we talk about fall camp. But JB, I wanted to get your thoughts on what you think of this offensive line. Bottom line, what is going to be the number one thing that you want to see at this point from the SC going forward?
From the offensive line perspective, I want to see their ability to pass protect better. They actually did not run block quite as bad last year. They were one of the better running teams in the SEC. And that's probably because you have Rocket Sanders and Lenora Sellers. But with that being said, they were decent. They were better in the run game. I want to see them give Lenoris a clean pocket and him work from the pocket and him not have to break 3 tackles every drive. So that's something I'm going to be looking forward to. I do think that they're going to be better. I know that's crazy to say with the guys that they lost, but those guys have been there for a long time that left, and they were good players, but they weren't quite the most talented players that they probably have on the roster now. I mean, those are good players. We're proud of them and all that. But I do think that they brought in some good transfers. The starting center is going to be Boaz Stanley. I played football with Boaz Stanley at Georgia Military College for 2 years. He is a great player, great person, big body, hard worker. So I'm high on him, really high on him. I do think they're going to be better. And yeah, I don't think they're going to be like a top 5 SEC offensive line, but I think that they can get by. I think they're going to be a little bit better than they were last year. And it's all about just being good enough to not be one-dimensional.
Yeah. I mean, that's a program that you definitely have to understand that if you're in a one-dimensional offense and if you're in a position to where you're putting your quarterback in a rough situation where he's consistently scrambling, it's not going to help you one bit, especially at the end of the day when you're trying to make a push for a postseason appearance. So We'll see what happens at the end of the day with this offensive line. I'm hearing some decent things coming out of camp, but again, we just don't know until we get to that first game going up against Virginia Tech. Let's get into fall camp right now, and let's talk about what's going on throughout this past week. Shane spoke to the media last week. JB, did you catch any of his press conference at all?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. Yeah. Do you want me to?
Yes, please, because
Okay.
you'd be a very helpful source, unlike me.
Okay, so I keep up with Beamer. Just about every press conference he has ever said in the last 4 years I've watched, and I've kind of, in my opinion, I really kind of cut through the Beamer talk. So what I mean by that is Beamer said his biggest takeaway, in my opinion, was he said that this is the best receiver room that he's had since he's been here. Beamer never says stuff like that. Coach Beamer has never said anything like that in the press conferences he has had in 4 years. If he's saying something like that, if he's saying something with that conviction, that means that they're going to be really good. I mean, I legitimately think, based off of the information that I'm getting and what Beamer has said, that I think you could see Malik Clark. I think you could see Brian Rowe. I think you could see Donovan Murph kind of take a step like the Clemson receivers did last year. I know we don't want to talk about Clemson, but they had some really good freshman receivers last year that played well. And I think you could see some of those South Carolina receivers really take that step. I do think that it's going to take 3 or 4 weeks for them to kind of get in that role. But as far as the press conferences go, I think the one concern I would have is Beamer doesn't know what he has. Like, he doesn't know what he has. You can tell in the way he's talking. Like, if you listen to it and just cut to the coach speak, there's certain things he's confident about, and there's certain things that he doesn't know yet. And you're probably not going to know until you kick it off August 31st. So there's a lot of what ifs. The linebacker room, I know we're going to get to that. The linebacker room's a what if. The offensive line's a what if. I think the guarantees, in my opinion, are probably going to be quarterback, tight end, and receiver is what I'm going to be looking for as something that is going to be the bright spot of this program this year. And I'm telling you right now, Nicholas Harbour is going to go nuts this year. Mark it, pin it, do whatever you want with it. He will have an outstanding season this year. I'm calling it right now.
So I'm glad you mentioned the linebacking room. Sean Murphy is who I'm thinking of. And in my opinion, Sean Murphy's a freak. I watched his high school tape. There's a reason why he was highly recruited coming out of high school and why he went from Alabama to Florida State, anywhere in between. Guy 6'3", 230 pounds, was a special teamer most of the time, worked his way back from an offseason injury, played in only 4 games last year, but really showed off why he can be an immediate impact for the Gamecocks. Talked to the media earlier today, talked about what he brings to the linebacking room. This is what he says. I think I'm a smart linebacker. I think I've been around for a little while now, going on my 4th year. I feel like I bring some wisdom and knowledge to that linebacking room and just help out that way. I completely agree with him. You know, I mean, when you talk about what you lost from last year, when you lose Demetrius Knight, you lose Debo Williams, you lose Bam Martin Scott, you lose those 3 basically cornerstone pieces to that linebacking room, it's hard to go in and replace what you have at the end of the day. But I think that with a guy like Sean Murphy, what he's going to bring to the table, I mean, he's going to be able, in my opinion, there's a reason why I said he's going to be what Demetrius Knight was last year. And you hear it from these press conferences and you see it during camp. He's consistently making plays. He's consistently learning a new defense. It's hard for a guy that's transferred from one SEC school to another and go from one defensive system to another and try to adjust in that span of time. He's done that. And he's been damn good at it. He's been damn good and a very smart and instinctive linebacker to adjust on the fly in moments like these. So I think it's so impressive to see what Sean Murphy had to say at the end of the day. He said that they're a very aggressive, very fast, and physical room. I feel like we do a lot of good things and we're all on the same page when it comes to everything. Have you heard anything other than that from that linebacking room? I know you said there's a lot of what if, but a lot of potential as well.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that Sean Murphy's going to have to play well this year. He's going to be a big piece. Another guy to look out for is Justin Oroku.
Oroko,
Is it
I know what you're talking about.
Oroko? He's a transfer linebacker from Alabama. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he's from Germany, and he was rated very highly over there. And if he played in the States, I've heard multiple people say that he would have been one of the top linebackers in the country. So it'll be interesting to see how well he does. And these linebackers are going to have to play well for South Carolina to really take that step as a defense, because I don't think people realize how good Ben Martin Scott and the other linebackers in that room were. I mean, Demetrius Knight. I mean, if you go back and look at the tape, he jumps off the screen. So it'll be interesting to see, like you said. So again, I can't tell you what I don't know. I don't think Beamer knows. I don't think the defensive staff knows what they have yet. So I think it's going to be kind of I've heard good things, but you really don't know. I mean, I can tell you this from a player. Practice is very important, but you really don't know until you step on that first game field and you really find out, oh, where we are really good, or maybe practice was a little, not as realistic, because practice is amazing, but I mean, it's not the same as a game. So
Yeah, I can't really say much else other than that. But I mean, going back to the linebacker room and just looking at the depth that you have right now, the three guys that you're going to look at, obviously, we know about the three transfers with Justin Uckerno or Nowell. I'm not even going to try that again. Obviously, people know about Fred Johnson and Jaron Willis, who, in my opinion, he was the prize commit in that class of 23. You obviously bring a lot of guys in the class of 25 that were prized as well, but just a lot of what you've seen from on tape throughout fall camp has really just been about the progression overall of this defense. You still have some holes that you have to fill. It starts with that linebacking through it all. In my opinion, that's going to be the number one area that you have to consider. The offensive line we already knew was going to be a problem, especially after last year, especially going into this year, but you're starting to see some improvement. Linebacker is going to be their number one focus that a lot of people are going to look at for South Carolina, and they're going to be evaluating at a very, very close rate. JB, I wanted to talk to you about this whenever it came to continuing on with our fall camp. The most impactful position for South Carolina. I'll go ahead and start first. Apart from where that quarterback room is, I think when you look at this running back room, I'm hearing sources that say that Roswell Faison is going to get the green light at some point. Is it just yet? No. But we have heard a lot that people are saying that he's expected to actually get a decision possibly by a week and a half from now, maybe shorter. And Faison's been very adamant on social media discussing this. He hasn't really said a whole lot, but there is a lot of hope that you'll get the Utah State transfer out on the field. I mean, other than that, you talk about what you have with that running back room with Oscar Attaway coming back, who showed some burst of potential last year, splitting carries with Rocket Sanders. Obviously, it's going to be hard to replace a guy like that, but I mean, I really like what you have at the end of the day. Jawarn Howell, who was the SWAC player, who was one of the SWAC's best running backs, one of the league leaders in the SWAC conference before he ended up at South Carolina, coming from South Carolina State. So, I mean, there's a lot of athleticism in his game. Who, in your opinion, has the most impactful position at the end of the day for South Carolina?
Are we talking about offensively or defensively or both?
Both.
Okay, sorry. Offensively, I'm going to say the most impactful person or most impactful position group at South Carolina. To me, it's kind of hard. I mean, to me, I get running back, but I'm going to go with the offensive line, because if you have that offensive line that is able to keep Lenoris upright, I really do think that this team goes from a 8-9 win team to a playoff team. If they cannot pass protect and run the football, you have no chance of winning a playoff game or getting to the playoffs. You don't have a choice. If you look at South Carolina's schedule, they play Alabama, LSU, they play Ole Miss, they play Texas A&M. Those teams, you know what they have? They have really good defenses, all of them. So you're going to have to really protect well, give Lenoris time. You're going to have to create some running holes as well. I don't think you want Lenoris taking 30, 40 dropbacks a game. You're going to need to be able to run the ball, and it all starts up front. If you don't have a good offensive line, you can't do anything.
No, not at all. Still more to get into. This is South Carolina Live here on the Voice of College Football. Want to thank our good friends over at Amazon for sponsoring our content as well. And for more information on that, if you want to help support the Voice of College Football, use that Amazon link in the bio. But here's Mark with some more information.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link, and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
Okay, we're back here on the the Voice of College Football, and we're going to be discussing where South Carolina was ranked in the coaches poll. Let's see, they were ranked, if I'm not mistaken, they are ranked 13th. And with South Carolina being ranked 13th, there's definitely going to be a lot of high expectations for this coming year. So there's been multiple people saying, how much does the coaches poll really mean would be probably my question. For example, Florida State last year, I think they were ranked top 10, top 12, top 15 in the country, and they went 2-10. So the coaches poll, how much do you really feed into it? Me, not really. I don't think it really matters. I think it matters after week one. We'll see who's good and who's not. But it certainly brings a lot of anticipation for the fan bases. and it also brings probably some excitement. I mean, fall is here, football is here pretty much. So it's just kind of something that they can get fans to talk about and excited about. So let's see. The top 15 is Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, Notre Dame, Clemson, Oregon, Alabama, LSU, Miami, Arizona State, Illinois, and South Carolina comes in at 13. So they're the 13th ranked team in the country, according to the coaches poll. Behind them is Michigan and Ole Miss. So South Carolina, they play 1, 2, 3, 4 teams in the top 14 teams in the country this year. That'd be LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Clemson. So those are the teams that they're going to be playing so far in the regular season. So South Carolina's strength of schedule, I think, is number 5 or 6 in the country. So this schedule will definitely take a test for South Carolina. And like we were talking about earlier, the offensive line is going to be a key for this team. And but yeah, the coaches poll, I mean, how much does it really mean is probably what I would question. But yeah, I think it's definitely exciting for the fan base to have a 13th ranking. What am I questioning about the coaches poll?
Oh. Yes.
I mean, Florida State was ranked like top 15 last year in week 0, and they went 2-10.
The daggum coaches poll is a joke. They, in my opinion, the preseason polls, they release them things at like the beginning of July, and they don't count into consideration what happens during fall camp.
Yeah,
just my thought.
Yeah, I don't think you can take anything from this coaches poll. The poll means nothing. I mean, how many teams started out inside the top 15 that weren't even ranked at the end of the year? So, what I think it is, I think it's fall and people are sick of doing nothing and people are ready for football. So they're like, hey, we're going to throw this coaches poll at you and get you excited, get the fan bases revved up, get the fan bases, hey, let's go buy tickets, let's go to games. So that's exactly what I think. It's basically just an advertisement for fans to get ready and buy tickets.
That's what's so frustrating too, is that I wouldn't say it's for getting ready for fans to buy tickets, because I think they're already buying tickets in freaking February or April or whenever, or February.
Okay, it's
really,
hype.
Day after the season ends. I know, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
But when you look at where they were last year, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
They're at 13. They're at 13 in the coaches poll.
Only 13 of the 25 programs that were ranked in the preseason top 25 ended up being ranked last year. That's what I was counting.
Oh, my bad. But yeah, it's very interesting.
Right. Or actually, I think 1, 2. I'm looking at who was in the top 15 from last year. Yeah, you had 4 of which that finished unranked: Michigan, Florida State, Utah, and Oklahoma. So,
I mean, it's so tough. I mean, it's so tough to predict because, I mean, I would say the teams you just mentioned, a lot of those teams are probably based off of who they are. I mean, they're Oklahoma, Michigan, Florida State, and who was the 4th? I mean,
Oklahoma, Michigan, Florida State, and I want to say, oh, shoot.
Yeah, but, I mean, it don't really, yeah. I mean, I don't
Utah.
really.
That's what it was.
Utah. Well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just boring. I don't give a rat's ass about this coaches poll. I don't care about it. I'm ready for kickoff. I'm ready for somebody to hit somebody in the mouth. That's what I'm ready for. And then we'll find out who the top 25 best teams are in the country, because we have a loaded week 1. I mean, this is maybe one of the best week 1 schedules we've had in a long time.
Yes.
You're going to find out how good teams are really quickly. I mean, you got Ohio State, Texas, Virginia Tech, South Carolina, Clemson, LSU. So there's tons of really great SEC games in week 1, and you're going to really find out who these teams are and how well they have revamped, because there's a lot of teams, including South Carolina, that you don't know about. The difference with South Carolina is they have one of the best returning quarterbacks in the country compared to Alabama and Georgia and some of the other SEC schools that are starting new quarterbacks. Texas, I mean, I know it's Arch Manning, but he still hasn't played in multiple games and shown that he hasn't shown that he's a superstar yet. Do I think he's going to be really good? Yes, of course. But South Carolina, their biggest concern for me is linebacker. I do think that if anything is going to be really bad for them this season, that would be my one position group that I think it could be not the same.
What do you think of them being 13th in the coaches poll? Anybody that you think that they shouldn't be behind?
Okay, my bad. Yeah, let's see. Should they be? I mean, it's
I
so
don't
hard
mind
to tell.
them being 13th from what I saw.
This is so hard to tell for me because I mean I think they're in a good spot in my opinion. I do think it's interesting that that Ole Miss is behind them when Ole Miss beat them in the regular season, and then you got Illinois in front of them. And I don't feed much into the bowl games. I don't. I mean, you got Rocket Sanders was out, multiple key starters for South Carolina was out, so. I think I mean it's just interesting how they make these poll things, but I think 13 is a good spot. I like where they're at. I don't want them any higher than that. I think they're in a good spot because they need to prove it. So I don't have any problem with them being in the top 15.
Brett McMurphy doesn't even have them ranked.
Oh yeah, that's okay. I mean, I don't even have anything to say. I mean. I don't get it. I mean, they went 9-3. They beat Texas A&M. They beat Missouri. They beat Clemson at home. I mean, say what you want. They beat a decent Vandy team. I'm not saying Vandy's amazing, but I mean, they finished the season. I still think that they should have made the playoffs. I mean, Indiana was not a very good team. Didn't have a very good strength of schedule. So, according to the Brent guy, I don't know much about him. I did see that on social media, but if you don't have the Gamecocks ranked in the top 25, I would say they're deserving to be ranked between probably 11th and 17th is probably where I would have them, anywhere in that range. Maybe you can say 11th to 20th, but I would not have them any lower than 20th in the country. I think that's absurd. So I like them at 13, and I'm going to be looking forward to them proving it here in football season.
Can I be honest with you about Brett McMurphy?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I just like the guy, and I think the guy has one of the biggest egos that I've ever met in sports media. And oh my God.
Do you not think, let me ask you this. Do you not think they do stuff like this just to get our reaction? Because that's what I think they do.
I feel like they do. I feel like it does. And
because we're talking about them right now.
One of the best ones that does stuff like this clickbait stuff, is Chris Mahler.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Mahler is a genius when it comes to clickbait. And it is so funny whenever he posts all sorts of crap like that. And it is awesome when he does. But that's just my opinion on this, man. I mean, McMurphy is just another guy to me. I really, really don't like the guy. Probably because he didn't want to be on my show this one time. But I think other than that, it's just I don't know what it is. I just don't like the guy. Like something about him just gives me the ick. And it's just ridiculous how it is. But that's really all I have around that. Let's go ahead and let's go around because I'm glad you mentioned around the SEC. Let's go around your SEC for today. Okay. LSU fans had a little bit of a scare about 4 or 5 hours ago because Garrett Nussmeier had to get helped off the field, and message board trolls were going nuts on X and on Instagram saying that he was out for the season, that he tore his ACL, that these that these sources have been confirmed. What was your reaction when you saw these news?
My reaction is, I mean, I'm going to need some more information. I've heard a little bit about it. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have not heard that much about it. So I can't comment on something that I don't know a whole lot about. But let's just hypothetically say that he was hurt for this case. That would immediately change their entire season, the entire expectations. That would change everything. The entire reason he came back was to win a national championship and for them to have a returning quarterback. So I will say there's lots of injuries in fall camp. You never know what they really are. They're a lot of times blown out of proportion, but I don't know if that's the case. I do know, like, for example, like let's just say he was hurt a little bit. I wouldn't, if he was hurt even a little bit, I wouldn't even touch him. I would go put him in a closet and just have bubble wrap around him and tell him to sit there until the first week of practice. So that's what they're. If it's a mild injury, that's probably what they're going to be very precautious because, I mean, you're not going to beat him going. To me, if you don't have him as your starting quarterback, mark the Clemson game as a loss. So I think it's very important that he plays. I'm hoping that he is healthy, and I'm wishing him the best with his health, and I'm hoping that this was just a mild injury and he gets back to 100%.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of ridiculous. I talked to a couple sources myself. They said it was nothing serious, nothing that LSU fans needed to be worried about, that he would be back on the field pretty soon. He's not going to be in a boot. But one thing that is for concern, the Florida Gators injury bug continues to pile up. Now Trey Wilson, everybody knows about what happened with DJ Lagway. Let's make this even worse. Let's have Dallas Wilson, the 5-star coming out of high school that just got hurt. You have Trey Wilson that just got hurt. And now you have, who is that? You have Aiden Mizell that is now struggling with injury.
My take on Florida, I mean, if we would have been on this, if you would have told me 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, before DJ got hurt again, I am probably as high on Florida as anybody if they're all healthy. I think DJ Lagway is probably a top 3 quarterback in the country this year. I think he is absolutely amazing. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country when healthy. But I mean, can Billy Napier, can he catch a break? I mean, Lord have mercy. I mean, this concerns me a lot because I just think that this is I'm not wishing this on anyone. Like I said, I'm very high on Florida and I want them to do well. I think they have one of the best. I think they have a lot better roster than people are going to give them credit for. Like you just said, the 5-star Dallas Wilson, I think is his name. He's a really good player. Heard a lot of good things about him. They've got multiple good receivers coming back, but it really just seems like, I mean, this tail is just kind of creeping towards it's going to be an injury bug year, and they're not going to be able to put all the pieces together.
Yeah, I mean, if you can finally get healthy, I've been very high on Florida since probably the middle of May. That's when I really started to realize, like, Florida is going to be a very special program at the end of the day. That I think
the problem is their schedule. Their schedule is brutal. I mean,
they have the top. It's the same schedule as last year, except flipped, almost at least. I think the only games that I think Florida will not be favored in is LSU. I do want to say that they'll be favored against Miami, Georgia, and I think Texas, yes.
Let me ask you this. So I'm not wishing ill will on any of Florida's players. I want to get that across clearly. I wish DJ Lagway the full health. I hope he is an animal this year and hope he is fully healthy. But in my opinion, I'm very scared that even if he enters the season healthy, with that schedule, with that brute of a schedule when you play those top teams, I'm concerned how is he going to stay healthy versus Georgia? Is he going to stay healthy versus Texas? Is he going to stay healthy versus Miami? When you got the pile week after week of just getting the crap beat out of you, I'm concerned of his health over a long term of a season. if he can't even stay healthy, in fall camp. Now, I will say it's probably blown out of proportion right now. I bet you he's fine. I bet you it's just a mild injury. But I am concerned with him missing multiple games last season. He got injured in the Georgia game. He didn't play, I think, at all in the Texas game. So I am concerned, even outside of these reports in fall camp, I'm concerned of his health in the brute of the SEC. I mean, it is a smash mouth football league, so there's going to be injuries throughout the season.
I think this is still going to be fine. I think Florida's going to be just fine at the end of the day. They have one of the best offensive lines in college football. You have 3 top 50 offensive linemen overall in this class. I think they're going to be just fine at the end of the day. DJ Lagway is going to have to be much more patient. I think he's got to have a much better pocket awareness. He's got to be aware of where he can deliver the football, find that hole in the middle of the defense, and deliver at the end of the day. South Carolina is emerging as the top contender, according to Chad Simmons, for the number 1 interior offensive lineman in Darius Gray. It is between, from what we are hearing, him and LSU. And I've been very high on Darius Gray, too. And we've talked about it a lot. He is set to commit August 22nd, so just over 2 weeks away. So really excited for that one. I think it's going to be a really interesting commit. And when you look at where South Carolina's class is at this point in time, JB, we were talking about this at the beginning of June with South Carolina only with less than 10 commits, yet you were still pulling in a top 25 class. Remember when we talked about quality over quantity? Let's say this is a 15 prospect class. You're talking about with Gray, with Landon Duckworth, with Xavier Currents, with the Harris twins, with Noah Clark, with one of the best athletes in the nation in C.Kel Patterson. And look, we've talked about this on a regular basis. This is still, when we talk about quality over quantity, it is very, very, very much so a big factor when it comes to where Shane Beamer and this South Carolina program has been over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I'm extremely high on Darius Gray. I actually I think that he's going to go to South Carolina. I think that they got remind me of the 4-star offensive lineman they got like a month ago. His name's blanking on me right now.
Amari Blair.
Amari Blair. Okay, yeah, because now I have no basis in fact to back that Darius Gray commitment up with. It's just a feeling based off Twitter, based off social media, based off how active he's been with Carolina. And I just think that this is a must get for Beamer. I think that the recruiting classes, like I predicted, I predicted this. I mean, people are going to flip. It's going to happen. So these teams, these players are going to flip. I think that if all South Carolina has to do is one thing, and it's win, and everything goes, all your problems just disappear. So I think that this is probably you got to think now Beamer's in year 5. So yeah, Coach Beamer's in year 5. His players are kind of all in here. A lot of everybody that's on this roster has been recruited by him. I do think that this is probably one of the most talented rosters he's had. They were a better roster last year, but I think from like a young perspective, I think this roster a year from now, like next year, let's just say you get Lenoris back, I think you're building for 2026. I do think you can make the playoff in 2025, but you've got so much young talent. You've got so much potential. You had offensive linemen last year that were starting as freshmen. So Josiah Thompson started just about every game last year as a freshman. So those players that are going to be developed under Beamer, it's going to build to 2026, in my opinion. So I think that I'm very high on this class, and I think that especially if you can somehow get Lenoris to come back, those transfer portal guys are going to coming like hand and foot. So I'm very high on him. I trust Beamer. He's proven everybody wrong. There's been multiple times. I mean, who knew about Demetrius Knight and Kyle Kennard 16 months ago? Nobody did. And they were draft picks. So, and Kyle Kennard was one of the best defensive players in the country, and Demetrius Knight was as well. So I trust Beamer. I think that his recruiting class will be fine, and all he has to do is one thing, and that's win.
What'd you think of? Did you watch the Any Given Saturday documentary?
I've watched the whole thing twice already.
Did you watch the My Old Employer on there?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, Chris was on there. There's a lot of good guests on there. I think it's very interesting. Where the media
did my ass end up on there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I was about to say.
No, it was Chris and
Cole. Dave
Cole
made
and
it
Dave.
on.
And it's very interesting where the sports media industry is going with what's the guy's name from the SEC podcast? I think it's
that
Mike.
SEC podcast, SEC Mike.
Yeah. Not the bigger guy, the skinnier guy, or the smaller guy. He was featured in it very heavily.
Mike Bratton.
Mike Bratton. Okay. And then
was cousin Shane in it?
He wasn't, but he's very interesting.
What?
I think he may have had like a clip, but like the Mike guy was like, he was like a big piece of it. And so was
Feinbaum.
Feinbaum was a big piece in it. And then the other guy that had a really big piece in it was the On3 guy, not JD Piquel.
Josh Pate.
No. It was Ari
Wasserman.
Yeah, it was.
Can I be honest with you? The On3 guys are a joke.
Really? I like their stuff. I think it's interesting.
They've had really, really, really bad takes, in my opinion. I mean, the On3 guys, if you want to talk about an SEC documentary, get SEC level media. That's not them. They cover college football as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that,
man. Yeah. I mean, I know a couple of guys that got the email to have their clips included into the documentary, but I know one guy that I texted, they said, hey, I mean, I got an email sent from the producers and he just didn't check the email.
Wow. But it was a really good. Go ahead.
That would have been cool to be featured in that documentary. I'm surprised they didn't grab any of my videos because I was very, very high on the SEC. But I mean, this is another great opportunity with what we got going on. Hey man, if y'all want to be featured on that documentary, hop up in the freaking live chat and give us your takes, and we gonna talk about it a lot. I mean, I hope they're making another one. They need to, just in my opinion, because one season isn't going to be good enough. But I think the series doesn't do bad, but there's a lot of holes that are missing. A lot of things that, it's supposed to go in deep about what goes on inside that locker room or whatnot, and you just don't get that complete feeling. Like you look at it as a former player and you're like, hold on, bro. There's more to this than what the cameras are showing.
I thought that it was a really, really well done show. I do agree with you. I think there were some bits and pieces that they probably could have gone more in depth to, but you just never know what they were allowed to do, what they were not allowed to do. I'll be looking forward for another season, and they really, really got in deep with Beamer. I think Beamer's family. Him and Coach Beamer and Brian Kelly had probably the most on them with
Beamer's wife was awesome.
Yeah, Beamer's wife was in it. She was really good. His kids were in it. It was a really cool experience. I thought it was very interesting. One of the things that really popped out to me was when she said when Shane Beamer when he said, "Hey, I'm going to marry you," he had told Emily it's not a matter of his wife. It's not a matter of if we get fired. It's a matter of when we get fired. And that was a pretty interesting moment. And really helps you realize what college football is all about and how important it is to these programs.
I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. I really like the series, but I mean,
I want more of it. Like I would
yeah,
watch
absolutely. It
65
makes you
episodes.
want more at the end of the day. It kind of has, you know what I think that we need? We need a Last Chance U revival in the actual, not in JUCO, but we need to send cameras out to UNLV, because at this point, UNLV is basically Last Chance U at this point with what you have with guys like Alex Orgy out there, Dan Mullen, a lot of former 5-stars that are out there. It's just so cool to see a lot of these different programs and a lot of these different guys that were at these big time P4s in Vegas. So I would definitely be looking forward to something like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. It's a new day and age. Anything to get attention and viewership. I think that's where the world's going. I mean, the demand's there. I want more of it. I want more of the shows. I think they were really interesting. I think the Swamp Kings on Netflix with Florida was
Swamp
really
King,
good.
awesome.
So I think that I hope Netflix continues to do them, and I hope these coaches and programs keep giving them the access that they're giving them.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to South Carolina Live here at the Voice of College Football. Continue to holler at us on all across our social medias. Follow us on X, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook at THEVOCFB. Follow me on X, the new handle at Lucas Hill SEC. JB, what is your Twitter? Because I keep seeing it and I keep forgetting to follow. I don't even know if you're even following me on Twitter.
I think I'll follow you tonight. It's John Baylor A is what it is.
Okay.
So I'll follow you tonight, and thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it, and it's going to be a great season. Hopefully, we'll connect soon.
JB, we're really excited for that one, brother. Guys, thank you all for tuning in once again to South Carolina Live, the Voice of College Football. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Turn on the bell notification so that you are notified every time we go live or post a new video, post a new short here on South Carolina Live. Thank you to all of our viewers for joining in. 341 of you hopped in and talked some ball with us. We really appreciate you guys joining into the shows. And before we just get out of here, JB, I do want to talk about our YouTube memberships for a brief moment and talk about what we have to offer at the end of the day. We really, really love connecting with our YouTube members. So this is an opportunity that you guys can have to become a member of the YouTube channel and really interact with us here at South Carolina Live at the Voice of College Football. So really quickly, we do have our $2.99 membership that allows for you to get access to get you priority access. You get a little logo right next to your username, $4.99. You get content requests, $9.99. The big membership, you get everything that's included, including priority access, public meetings, the hangouts with yours truly, Lucas Hill. So really, really considering you guys to help support South Carolina Live. Purchase a membership. Come become a member of South Carolina Live. So for John Baylor Altman, I'm Lucas Hill saying so long, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Y'all have a great rest of the week, guys.